Namaste. Welcome to today's class, Grade 8, Science and Technology subject, the Unit 1, Scientific Learning. Today, we are here in the second lesson. Dear students, what we have learned in the previous lesson, let's memorize some of the important points. Yes, in the previous lesson, we have discussed about what is scientific learning. Then, we have learned about the science laboratory. Do you know what is science laboratory? Yes, in the science laboratory, we do the practical work, experiment work, based on the scientific facts, scientific content, curriculum. Together with, we have discussed about the precautions to be followed while working in the science lab. If such the precautions are not followed, or if we work haphazardly in the science lab, then we may suffer from different type of accidents. That also we have discussed in the previous lesson. Dear students, let's review the previous lesson thoroughly. In the scientific learning, there are different processes involved. Here is one chart. Look at here. Scientific method. What are involved in the scientific method? Yes, scientific method, scientific study begins with the observation of the fact, observation of the event. Then we question on that. After the question, we arise curiosity. We can have the curiosity in our mind so that we can enter to the research topic on which research we have to investigate. Then after research topic, we have to formulate the hypothesis. What happens? What is it? Then after the hypothesis formation, then we should go to the next step. Then we should collect the fact, we should study the phenomena, and we should involve in the authentic learning process. Then we should analyze the data, analyze the fact, and we should find the result. Based on the result, we should prepare the report writing in the scientific study. So scientific learning process involves the detailed process of the scientific investigation and interpretation. So scientific learning activities are performed inside and outside the science lab, classroom, and beyond the classroom also. So scientific study is not concentrated, related within the classroom. It is not limited in the classroom. It is not limited in the science laboratory. It is also explored everywhere. Wherever you are, on the way, in the garden, in school, at home, or in the community. So, scientific learning is a process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through the systematic observation, experimentation, and analysis. Scientific learning involves experiment. Scientific learning involves analysis of the fact. Is it true or false? Whether it is correct or incorrect. Then we can try to find the authentic result, authentic information, so that we can get the true result and we can analyze it. Dear students, in the scientific learning process, we can involve in the experimental work in science. What sorts of work are experimental work? Let's observe the picture and discuss. Let's observe it. What do you see here? This first picture, what do you see? Then second picture and third picture. I am putting some question upon you. Let's find the answer. What are the picture related to? This picture is related to, look at here, sunlight. Solar energy is concentrated to a point by using a eyeglass. Then what happens? Have you ever done this experiment? Yes, sure. We can burn fire, we can lit fire from the sunlight, isn't it? Because sunlight, not only light, there is heat also. So solar heat is concentrated by the eyeglass, so that we can develop fire in that point, which is shown by this experiment. What do you observe in the second picture? Yes, there are a scientific process, scientific investigation are doing there, isn't it? And in the third picture, yes, there are also scientific work, probably in the science lab, isn't it? And why is science laboratory important then? Yes, definitely science laboratory is important because we can involve in experiment work in the science lab. What type of experiment work? Yes, scientific knowledge, related to scientific knowledge, scientific theories, scientific facts, to prove that theory, whether the theory is correct or not, to prove the hypothesis, whether it is correct or not, isn't it? Because in the science lab, there are chemicals, apparatus, and other devices which are required for the investigation and research work, isn't it? Then students, which experiment have you done in science laboratory? Can you see? Of course, you have done some of the experiment in science lab. You may have tested acid, base, and salt by using litmus paper, isn't it? You may have observed the different scientific specimen, biological specimen like snake, then lizard, frog, scorpion, and other animals you may have observed in the science lab, isn't it? So different activities you may have performed there. You may have prepared gases, you may have prepared crystals from the solution. Yeah, these are the different activities which we can do in the science lab. So science lab is important. And what attention should we pay while working in science lab? Remember that we have already discussed in the previous lesson. Yes, there are some of the attentions, precautions we should follow. We should not use apparatus and chemical haphazardly. We should not taste any chemical nor smell that. We should wear mask, gloves, goggles, isn't it? Such type of notable points we have discussed in the previous lesson. We should follow that while going to science lab. So we have discussed on these questions. Students, we have already discussed what is science lab also. Let's revise it. Yes, science lab is a sophisticated space. Sophisticated space are the room containing apparatus and chemicals for scientific study, experimental work, and the research work. Remember, in science lab, what do? We do experiment. We do research work. We study any scientific fact, scientific lesson, scientific knowledge practically, isn't it? Yes, these are some of the pictures where scientific experiment works are performed here. So science lab should be the sophisticated lab. It should be clearly understood lab where lab rules and regulations should be kept there, and we should not touch, we should not use apparatus and chemical randomly without any proper guidance. Otherwise, we may suffer from accident that we have already discussed. So science lab, we apply science process skills. Let's discuss what are the science process skills. Dear students, science process skill involves observation. Observation. What do you observe this? Do you observe color? Here. What is this? Green color. What is this? Orange color. Similarly, which color is it? Red color. Yes. How did we know the color of this item? Through observation. Yes. Observation is also a science process skill. After observation, we can do research work. Why it happens, isn't it? What is cause behind it. If we question that, then we start research. We start deep study, that is the research, isn't it? So, in science process skill, observation, research, then not only research, we have to test also, whether it is correct or not, whether it is true or false, whether the phenomena is happening or not happening. So, for that we should test, we should experiment. That is done in the science lab and beyond. And model construction also, model construction, different type of model we have to make, isn't it, to study science very easily based on the fact and content. So, verify the different theories and principle. Why do we follow the science process skill? We follow the science process skill to verify different theories and principle. Theories and principles. These theories and principles, how are verified? Verified by observation, verified by experiment, isn't it? Mainly observation, experiment. Then it involves the different process. It involves analysis, interpretation, and draw conclusion to discuss on the theories and principles so that we can understand the scientific theories and principles clearly. So, these are the science process skills. Dear students, what are the experimental work in science then? Remember, here are some of the pictures, look at here, experimental work. We can work in the science lab, we can analyze the chemical, we can verify the principle in the science lab. Look at here, what do you observe here? Here is a blue color is converting into red. What is that? That is litmus paper, yes. Blue litmus paper is converted into red. How it is possible? Yes, this solution must be acid. Acid converts blue litmus paper into red, which we can study in acid, base and salt chapter, isn't it? This is also scientific test. Then what do you observe here? Yes, this is one of the exhibition, one of the scientific exhibition, project exhibition. There are the project works. So many works are involved in science experimental work. Let's check. Experimental work involves self-directed activities which are conducted in science lab and outside the lab. Remember, these experimental work are not conducted only in the science lab. They can be conducted in the playground, they can be conducted in the forest, in the any area, inside the classroom, or at home, or on the way, wherever we are, isn't it? There are the field work, different field works, which can be conducted. So, it involves the science process skills. What are the science process skills? These are observation, research, testing, model development to verify the facts. Science process skill involves observation, science process skills. It involves observation, testing or experimenting, model construction, yes, these are the some of the skills, isn't it, in which scientific process skills are involved. Dear students, have you involved in such type of activities? Of course, you must have involved in such scientific activities. If the desired result are not obtained, isn't it, by our activities, then other alternatives are applied. Safety measures listed should be adopted while conducting experimental work. Many safety measures are there. We have already discussed this safety measure. While conducting this work, we have to follow these safety measures so that we can be safe and we can draw the desired result from the scientific experiment. Students, we are now discussing on the observation work in science. Among different scientific process skills, what are the scientific process skills? Observation, experiment work, model construction. Among these, the first one is observation work. What do we observe? We should observe scientific facts. So here is one story. Whose story? Mamata's story of garden-based practical learning through observation. Check your book. There is one story given. Mamata is a student. Do you know? Once she went to the garden and she observed beautiful flower there. When she observed beautiful flower, she is surprised. She saw one caterpillar moving on the leaf, isn't it? And previously she had studied that caterpillar is a larva of butterfly. And she remembered. Immediately she could trap this caterpillar in a bottle. Look at here. She trapped this caterpillar in a bottle. And finally, after 10 to 15 days, she observed carefully. She put some of the leaves for the caterpillar as food. And after 14-15 days, what did she observe? She observed this type of condition, which was pupa of the butterfly. And after, when pupa was converted, when puparium was broken, one beautiful butterfly emerged out. She is surprised by that activities and she prepared a chart of life cycle of butterfly, including egg, larva, pupa and butterfly. So how did she study this type of interesting fact? Yes, by observation. She observed the butterfly life cycle of butterfly carefully. She was scared, she afraid of the caterpillar initially, but when she observed beautiful butterfly, she was so happy. And you also do that, but be aware, don't touch caterpillar with your bare hand. There are sticky thorns which may harm our body and we have to use the safety precaution. We should apply the tongue. So she shares her experiment and result of the practical activity among the friends. Yes, you also try to share, but not same topic. You can share the scientific experiment, scientific observation of any other relevant topic to your lesson. Dear students, now what is observation work in science? Do you remember what is observation work? By which organ or by which part of body do we perform observation? Remember once? Yes, I am observing through eyes. I am listening through ears. I am smelling through nose. I am tasting through my tongue. And I am feeling hot and cold by skin. Then which organ are these? Sure, these are the sense organ. So 5 sense organ are applied or involved in the observation work, where in the observation we can involve in the inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning involves 5E model of inquiry-based learning. Do you know 5E? What are the 5 E's? Don't forget, we all study any inquiry-based learning in 5E model. The first one is engage. We engage deeply. After engage, after observation, we explore the knowledge. What is that? We try to understand. After that, we can explain about the fact, about the scientific process. Then after, we can elaborate, we can evaluate. Yes, these are the scientific process skills where 5E model also can be engaged. It is one of the inquiry-based learning. So, the process of experiencing an object, event, or the process of observing carefully through sense organs is observation. What do we study? What do we experience? By using our 5 sense organs. Yes, that process is called observation. So, if the sense organ cannot observe the fact directly, then what do we have to do? If our eyes cannot see the tiny object, then what can we do? We can use alternative method, that is tools. Tools like hand lens or microscope, compound microscope are used to observe the given experiment, isn't it? So, this is the observation work. Students, look at here. What is observed here? Yes, by using eyeglass or hand lens, one beautiful insect. Do you know it's ladybird? Yeah, that is observed. Its parts are observed there. You also can observe the insect by using eyeglass. If all the parts are not clearly observed through our eyes, isn't it? This is a tool which can use in observation work. Now, let's engage in one activity. Which activity? Activity 1.1 in your textbook. Let's check the activity. The title of the activity is Observation of Fungi. Do you know fungi? Yes. Some of the example of fungi, I am giving one picture to you. You try to understand what is this. Yes, what is this? Do you understand what is this? Sure. It is a mushroom, isn't it? Mushroom is a fungi. Have you seen green color, green pigment in the mushroom? No, never. Because mushroom does not possess any green pigment. It is non-green. So, non-green, it is saprophyte, it cannot prepare food by itself. So, this is a fungi. So, other example of fungi are, look at here, this type of fungi which grow on the dead and decay organic matter, that is the mucor, that is, we call it a dushi in bread. Do you know that is the mucor? Mucor is also fungus, that is also fungi. And these fungi are of different types. Some of the fungi are harmful to our health and some are nutritious also. Mushroom is, edible mushroom are nutritious, isn't it? That is also fungi. So, what type of fungi observation we can do? Let's discuss. The first objectives, you have to prepare observation report like this, isn't it? After doing observation work, we can prepare report. The first of all, we have to set the objective. What is our objective? To study the structure of fungi. Yes, to study the structure of fungi. Now, materials required. What are the materials required for it? We require bread, then water, then forceps or tongs are required. A glass slide is required, thin glass slide is required, a cover slip and a microscope, because whether the fungi have grown or not, we have to observe through the microscope. So, these are the items required. We can perform this activity in our classroom or in science lab also. Science lab is better place because there is microscope and other items, other articles also. Now, method or procedure, how to do it? First of all, what we have to do? We have to take a piece of bread and sprinkle some of the water on it. Then we should keep the bread in the moist place and sprinkle little water every day. After doing that, we should observe the change or growth of the mycelia of the fungi on the surface of the bread. We should grow because the color of the bread would be changed. Look at it, its color would be changed like this. See, this is bread, and after keeping it in the moist shady place, its color has been damaged, changed, isn't it? These are the fungi. Fungi have grown there, mycelia are grown there. Then what we have to do? We have to place a drop of methylene blue. Methylene blue is a chemical which is available in science lab on the glass slide. Do you know what is glass slide? See, I have a glass slide. Yes, we have to put here on the glass slide. Then put one of the mycelia in the drop that is methylene blue with the help of forceps or tongs. Do you know what is this? See, this is forceps. By using this forceps, we can put that bread piece or mycelia on this glass slide. Cover it with a cover slip. That is, this glass slide is covered with a thin plate of cover slip which is available in science lab, and observe it under the microscope. Now, what do you see under the microscope? Draw the structure and find the characteristics. We have to draw the structure of the mycelia of fungi. Then we have to note down the important characteristics based on our observation. Dear students, what do we see after the microscope? Let's discuss. Yes, look at it. We can observe like this. These are the structure. This is bread and mycelia are grown here. Here is a top, one longer stick, and on the top of the long stick-like structure of mycelia there is a round-shaped cage. This cage is called sporangia. This type of sporangia can be observed, and sporangia contain brown or black dots. What are these dots called? Spores. There are the spores developed like this. So our observation and result is like this. No green pigment were observed here. No any green pigment were observed because it is the non-green organism, non-green saprophyte, that is the fungi. And root-like mycelia and stem-like hypha were observed. Look at it. This is looking like root, but these are not the root. These are the root-like mycelia. Mycelium, plural form is mycelia, and this stem-like structure are called hypha. Hyphae. In plural form it is called hyphae. So these are the observed, isn't it? And some of the sporangia were observed. Look at here. At the top of this hyphae, here is the round shaped one organ, that is sporangia. At the tip of the branch hyphae, this is hyphae, and hyphae's branch, on the top of the hyphae branch there is sporangia. Dear students, now our conclusion will be like this. The fungi are the non-green saprophytes. It has no green color, it is non-green saprophyte, and that grow on the what type of substance? Decay organic matter. Yes, decay or spoiled food, spoiled that bread and other organic items. If decayed, then that is decayed by fungus attack. So the fungi role as decomposer in ecosystem. Do you know? Fungi are ecosystem member, ecosystem regulator, because they help to decompose, decay dead body into simple organic matter, so that it helps to mix up in the soil again, and that organic matter will be converted into the fertilizer. That fertilizer is used by the plants for photosynthesis. Yes, so that our ecosystem could be balanced. Not only the fungi, there are bacteria also. Bacteria and fungi are the decomposer in the ecosystem. So we have to apply some of the precautions while observing this fungi, isn't it? What precautions? Should be careful while using sharp tool like forceps, isn't it? This forceps is sharp, do you know? This is very sharp, and we have to be careful while using this, as they may cause the injury also if we could not handle properly. Then avoid fungus getting into mouth and eyes, because fungus are harmful. We have to be very careful while doing this experiment. So these are some of the precautions. Dear students, one project activity I am offering you, I am giving you, please try to do this project activity. What type of project activity? Yes, look at here. Take a green potted plant and keep it in a dark place, avoiding direct sunlight, avoiding direct light for a week. Not to avoid falling of light on the green plant for 1 week. Then what would happen? After 1 week, observe the change or the condition on the plant and prepare an observation report. What did you observe? What did you observe in 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th day, 5th day, and ultimately up to 7th day? You prepare one rubric table, day-wise rubric table, and you mention the changes observed in the plant in that project activity. And after preparing the report, you discuss this on your project and discuss in your classroom and draw out conclusion. Can you do it? Definitely you can do it. Yes, because we have a garden plant, we have potted plant, and we can do it. What can be the result? Look at it. Our result would be like this. The green plant would be converted into aloes plant, in aloes leaf. Chlorophyll would be faded because they could not make chlorophyll in the absence of sunlight. That would be our conclusion. You try that. Students, in today's class we have discussed about the different scientific skills, scientific experiment work in science, and under experiment work in science we have discussed today observation work, and we have discussed how observation work can be carried out to observe the fungi. We have discussed that also. Based on the today's lesson, let's involve in one exercise. What exercise? Yes. Choose the correct alternatives. I am putting some of the question on you and you have to find the correct answer of this question. The first question is, which of the following statement is correct? There are 4 statements. We have to find out the correct one. The first one is, experiment work involves self-directed activities which are conducted in science lab and outside. Is it correct? Or experiment work involve deeper engagement using sense organ? Only sense organ? Yes. Is it truly correct? Or the third one is, experiment work involves collection of data based on the problem. Yes. Data based on the problem. Only collection of data. That is experiment. Think carefully. Next, experiment work involves self-directed activities which are conducted only in the science lab. Is it correct? Yes, the best one we have to find. Which one is the best answer? Let's check. Did you find? Sure. Let's check it out. Yes, experiment work involves self-directed activity which are conducted in science lab and outside the science lab also. Now, let's go to the question number 2. Yes, question number 2 is like this. What method is useful if the observation through sense organ is difficult? Let's think. Choose the correct answer. Which is correct answer? The first one is internal organ like heart and lungs are used. Is it correct? Or another second one is other body parts like hands and legs are used. Or the third one, other tools like hand lens and microscope are used. Or other tools like spectacles and lab apparatus are used. We have to find the best answer among these alternatives. Have you got that? Sure. Let's check it out. Yes. Other tools like hand lens and microscope are used if our sense organ does not perform observation work properly. Students, let's have question number 3. What is the question number 3? It is like this. What are the science process skills? We have just discussed about it. Science process skills. Let's find the correct answer. Observation, experiment, survey and interpretation. Second one is observation, research, test and model making. Third one is experiment, observation, interpretation and reasoning. The final one is experiment, reconstruction, interpretation and reasoning. We have to find the best one. Did you find? Sure. Let's check it. Sure. Observation, research, test and model making are the science process skills under scientific learning process. Dear students, we have discussed about what are the science process skills. Science process skill involves observation work, research work, test or experiment work and model making work. Under this science process skill, we have discussed about observation process, observation of fungi and how to develop, how to prepare a report after completing our observation work. We have prepared a model of that report. There are so many other examples of observation work and you please do and prepare report, discuss in your class and you can take help from your science teacher too. And this much for today. Remaining lessons we will discuss in the coming class. Thank you. Namaste.